Welcome back, folks. This is the Dynasty Life Miami podcast. I am your host, JP, coming to you live from the 305. Super stoked, super excited for another season of the Dynasty Life Miami. You can find us at the Dynasty Life MIA on Twitter, Dynasty Life Miami all together on any podcast platform. Hit us up on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us some comments. Whether you agree, disagree, or you just want to add some input, it's all welcome. This is all for us to get better. I'm going to try to give you some gems today from all the signings, from the big ones to the little ones. Obviously, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the big signings than the little ones, but there's so much to get to, folks. I am super excited. I'm calling it Free Agency Bonanza because it is bananas. So let's get started, folks. I'm going to go ahead and start in the AFC and work my way to the NFC and spit you all the gems with some facts to back it up. I do spend a lot of time on this. I am pretty good on the field tip. I'm not really great with the big numbers. I'm more of a film guy. I like what I see. I watch a lot of football. I've been doing Dynasty since 2011, so I'm pretty, you can say I'm a seasoned vet already. I'm going to try to give you some gems on what to do and what not to do. So let's get started. I'm going to go from the AFC to the NFC, and we're going to start with the Buffalo Bills. They signed Isaiah McKenzie. We all know what's going on with Beasley. I think re-signing Isaiah McKenzie is great. I think he's a weapon on the field. I think he's going to get a bump up this year in targets and everything else. He's going to have a higher output all around. This kid is a beast. He's young, and I think Josh Allen's going to throw it to him. On the defensive side of the ball, they've signed Shaq Lawson, and big signing. Von Miller signed a 6-year, $120 million contract, $50 million in guarantees. So $51 million. Sorry about that. So we're gonna go to the Dolphins here. They switch coaches. Now it's McDaniel's coaching. They did a lot of signing here, a lot of small signings. They picked up Teddy Bridgewater as of late as a backup QB. I think that's a great move. Him as a backup QB is not a bad thing at all. He started in the league the past 2 or 3 years, so I think that's a great signing. At least for the backup quarterback, anything happens to Tua, you got a guy that can run your offense, and he's very efficient, and he'll win you games. He may not put the stats up like you would want a QB2 to put him up sometimes, but for the most part, he can have some really good games. Next, we got Chase Edmonds. They signed him. He's a good running back. To be honest with you, he can do it all. I'm a little concerned about his durability and being a bell cow back, but then again, they went ahead and signed Raheem Mostert to a 1-year deal. It's looking like some of the players are coming over from San Francisco and joining McDaniels, so could be a good thing. Preston Williams re-signed. They signed Cedric Wilson to a 3-year, $22.8 million deal. This guy pretty much showed out what he could do last year, and they put the franchise tag on Gesicki. I'm curious to see what McDaniels does with Gesicki because I know that he's a very good offensive guy. So, this could be, a very good change for the Dolphins. It's gonna be a lot of shifting around. And on the defensive side of the ball, Emmanuel Agba. 4 year, $65.4 million deal that will pay him $32.7 million over the first 2 years. So he got paid. I love that signing. I think he's a great defensive player. I think he's awesome. So I'm just waiting to see what happens at the draft with the Dolphins, who they pick, and how everything turns out. Let's go on to the next team, the New York Jets. So they re-signed Flacco. They re-signed Tevin Coleman. But this is the signing I like the most. Braxton Berrios. He re-signed a 2-year, $12 million contract. He looked really good last year at the end of the year. Jamison Crowder's testing out the free agent market. I think he's taking over Jamison Crowder's place. I think he gets a super bump up in the rankings. I think he's going to get the volume, and as long as he can stay healthy, he could be a sleeper. He might be out there in free agency. I see in this rookie draft in the 4th or 5th round. If there's free agents involved in your rookie draft and he's there, I say take a stab at him, especially in this year's rookie draft class. I think it can't hurt, and you might just have a gem. And if you can go and trade for him, I think I don't even think paying a late second is a bad thing for him. Maybe even an early third, because he's gonna get volume. It's just that the quarterback situation there is a little, but he did blow up last year at the end of the year, so you might want to have that type of person Maybe he blows up at the end of the year, and maybe he's a back end player for the back end of the season. The roster might have some injuries. He might be a great guy to come in and fill in at the end, towards the end of the season when you need the wins the most, or even to try to make the playoffs. So keep your eye on that. We're gonna go over next to the Cincinnati Bengals. They went ahead and signed Hayden Hurst since we just got off of the Jets. Let's go back to the Jets. They went ahead and signed C.J. Uzama and Tyler Conklin as a tight end. So the Bengals went ahead and signed Hayden Hurst, which I think is a great signing. He can do it all. I think he's super underrated. And next, we're gonna go to the Cleveland Browns. Now, you guys already know they picked up Deshaun Watson. I think this is wow. I mean, a lot of people have mixed feelings about this. Some people are on the train. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm on it. I think that this is awesome. Fantasy and dynasty wise, this is great. Maybe not for the team wise because they gave up so many picks. There's a lot of dark clouds going around the Deshaun Watson pickup right now saying, oh, it's not a good idea to pick him up. Don't pay so much for him because he might get suspended for a year. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a law expert whatsoever, but I doubt that the owner of the Cleveland Browns is gonna spend $230 million and waste three first round picks if Deshaun Watson is gonna sit and ride the pine for the first year because he can't play. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm pretty sure that the owner of the Cleveland already talked to Roger Goodell before he did this deal to secure his asset because it's a lot of money and it's a lot of first round picks. So, in saying that, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson will not get suspended. I just don't think that it's such a severity that it's going to be a year. Let's remember, he sat out a year. Last year, the whole year, he rode the pine. They didn't let him play. So, that's another thing that could come into the equation. And I want to to be honest with you, I want to come and break down, what the capability of Deshaun Watson is. Since 2017 to 2020, okay, he finished 1-4-2-6. His last year in 2020, he finished sixth. That was without Nuke. That was just with Brandon Cooks, Kiki Kote, and pretty much basically no one at all on that team. Okay, and he finished as the quarterback six. He threw for 33 touchdowns and seven interceptions, rushed for 444 yards and three TDs. And saying that, he had probably the worst lines in the freaking NFL, probably the most poorly coached team in the NFL, and he still was able to produce. People are going to say, well, yeah, he had the number one receiver in the league and Hopkins, and yeah, but he didn't have anything else. And he had the worst line ever. So let's go over to the what he has now. I mean, I think Amari Cooper gets a bump up. Obviously, he's gonna get a bump up. Everybody was throwing him to the bottom of the pit, and all of a sudden with Deshaun Watson, he gets a super bump up. I think he's definitely worth a first round pick and then some right now. He's going to get volume, and Joku is going to get volume. I think Anthony Schwartz is going to stretch the field. He's going to catch some nice long touchdown passes. And let's be honest, it's a major upgrade from Baker Mayfield. I watched games last year at times with the Browns, and although Beckham was wide open, 30 yards out, and Baker Mayfield could not hit the bright side of a barnyard. So I think this is a major, major, major upgrade. Watson's going from a team that had a bottom 10 offensive line to now a top 10 offensive line. And he has Amari Cooper, Peoples Jones, Anthony Schwartz. They're talking about signing Fuller. It hasn't happened yet, but it's about to happen. And if he gets that, that's somebody else that he can use. Even if Fuller gets injured, he still has weapons there. And Njoku is a freak athlete, and he hasn't been used correctly, in my opinion. So if all this pans out, and let's not forget, we're not even talking about Nick Chubb, and we're not even talking about Kareem Hunt and what that's going to do. They don't have that element. They haven't had that element there, and I think the rushing element and just the quarterback that Watson is going to blow everyone up. It's going to be the best. I think I'm just waiting on the news to see what happens and how long he gets suspended for. If he gets suspended, hopefully, that decision will come down soon so people can start getting their rosters ready for the rookie draft and post rookie draft and start making trades if they want to make trades. I have Watson in a lot of leagues that I pretty much lost because he was my QB1. And now these leagues, I'm looking a lot better this year. I'm super happy. I'm not trying to trade Watson, to be honest with you. I think he's a hold. I think you should hold him. I think I'll put it to you like this. He's 27, Joe Burrow's 26. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can throw that he hasn't played for a year, but he finished 2020 as the QB6. So I'm not gonna, in a super flex startup, they're the 1-6. To me, I mean, the perfect spot for me would be the 112, 110, 112 area where I can pick up on a good running back, depending on how how many quarterbacks go in that first round. If I got the 1-9 and 110 and all the good quarterbacks are taken and he's there, I'm taking him in the first round. That might be a big statement for you guys, but I'm taking him in the first round. That's just the way I feel about the situation. Not the beginning of the first round. I would say from the middle on, depending on how the round goes, how many QBs go, and the severity of the situation. I'm going Watson. But some leagues don't go like that. I think some super flex leagues are crazy. You might get a whole first round of quarterbacks just going, and you might have to make some adjustments, and you might have to go QB. But if that's the case, if he's there, I'm taking him. I'm taking him because I feel like he's gonna blow up, and I'm gonna stick by my guy. I haven't traded him in any of my leagues, so I'm giving you basically what I'm doing. I'm not trying to give you BS and not follow what I'm doing. This is Dynasty Life MIA. What we're trying to do is get you better, trying to make you hold on to your assets, not make dumb moves, so that you can win more pots, more leagues, gain more assets, and keep the dynasty going. So yeah, I think that the Deshaun Watson trade is awesome, and I mean they signed Jacoby Brissett as the backup. They signed Jakeem Brandt. They gave Njoku the franchise tag. They have a top 10 offensive line. I mean, what else is there to talk about? You know, yeah, there's a lot of legalities surrounding Deshaun Watson right now. We don't get into that on Dynasty Left Miami, right? We just talk Dynasty football. And when it comes to Dynasty football, he is a great asset to have. And I like him this year. I'm very eager to see and very excited to see what happens. I don't think that the owner, like I said, of the Cleveland Browns is going to give up $230 million in 3 first-round picks. Yeah, I just, which is the most in NFL history, by the way, folks. So let's move on. I don't want to, drag on. We're going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers next. They signed Mitchell Trubisky to a 2-year, $14.25 million contract worth up to $27 million with incentives. Before you guys go out there and try to pay a first for Mitchell Trubisky, I would wait till the draft is over. Make sure that they don't pick up a quarterback, and Mitchell Trubisky is not a bridge quarterback for the future. I would wait, till after instead of before, because at least after he's a starter if they don't pick up a quarterback, as opposed to now if you give up a first and then they end up picking up a top tier quarterback, which there's not that many quarterbacks that are good, but let's just say they picked up a good quarterback that can give Mitchell Trubisky, a run for his money, or they just want to use Mitchell Trubisky for a bridge. You don't want to waste a first round pick on that. So you want to kind of hold up on that. Not saying I'm not a fan of Mitchell Trubisky. I think this could be a resurgence for him, but I'm not going to know exactly what Pittsburgh's trying to do with him until they draft, because it's only a 2-year deal. That's the only thing that's got me a little. So we're going to go next. We're going to go to the Houston Texans. Pretty much they re signed Jeff Driscoll. Royce Freeman got re signed. And let me be honest with you, I like this kid, Davis Mills. I think that, we're going to find out whether or not they're going to go really wrong with him. I don't think they're going to go quarterback in this draft. I think Davis Mills is a steal where he's going. He's, to be honest with you, one of my sleepers for a QB2. I love him there. He could be, he spreads the ball around, which is what I love about him. And pretty much took Tyrod Taylor's job. So there's nothing but upside with him, especially if you guys picked him up in the third, fourth round last year, like I did. That's a win. That's a great win. And those are the type of things that you want to get done. You want to pick up these gems in the third or fourth round, even if the draft's not that good. Here in Dynasty Draft Miami, we don't try to deflate you, or they say that the draft is gonna be a low subpar draft with the talent that it has. We try to pull the best of what's going to come. You know, it's dynasty football. We're here to make fun of dynasty football, and make the best of it. You know, I love trading back and forth. I love conversing with guys all day and trying to get trades done and BSing each other till something gets done, or putting each other's strings till something gets done. It's all a part of the sport. It's all so fun. So yeah, that's as far as I can go with the Texans. We're gonna go to Indianapolis. They went ahead and signed Mo Alley Cox to a 3-year, $18 million contract. I think this is a sleeper tight end that could be something huge. If you can get this guy for something cheap, like a third or a fourth round, I would do it in a heartbeat, especially if you need the depth at tight end. You can never have too many tight ends, especially in super flex tight end premium leagues. You know, I'm in some leagues where you got to start two tight ends. You know what I'm saying? So these are the type of leagues where you want to have these type of guys in, because somebody gets hurt, you got a good feeling, and I don't know. I think this guy's he's a freak athlete, and depending on who they go after at quarterback, well, you know, we're gonna have to see. But let's say if a Matt Ryan goes there, spread the ball, he's gonna throw to whoever's open. Matt Ryan's seasoned vet. I can see him being a connection with Mo Ali Cox. Baker Mayfield, I don't know about Baker Mayfield. He's had, in my opinion, he had probably some of the best talent in the NFL, and he's just not for me. I don't think you know, maybe a change of scenery could help. Who goes to Indianapolis? Who they signed? I kind of wanted to wait to see who they signed the quarterback, or well, maybe they don't sign anybody and they go quarterback in the draft. So we might have to wait. So I wasn't gonna wait and put the show on hold for that. So let's go on to the next team, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now they have a bunch of signings. Zay Jones signed a 3-year, $24 million contract that has a max value of $30 million. I liked how he looked last year. He had some good flashes last year. Christian Kirk signed a 4-year, $72 million contract that includes 37 million guaranteed and has a max of like 84 million. I thought that was a massive overpay. You know, I'm not an expert, but I don't know what they're seeing in Christian Kirk that they paid him $72 million. I'm not saying that he's a bad wide receiver. I just think it's a bit of an overpay. Who knows? Maybe he blows up with Trevor Lawrence at the slot. That's where they're going to put him. That's his original position. Maybe he does. You know, I mean, maybe that check, you know, boosts him up and he does something. But until he shows me something, I think it's an overpay. Like I said, he's more than capable of proving me wrong. They signed Evan Ingram to a 1-year deal. That might work out. It didn't work out for him in the Giants. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying it was bad at the Giants, but I think he underachieved. I don't know if a 1-year deal is gonna be enough time for him to get that offense and actually be a fantasy asset. Let's go on to the next team. We're gonna go to the Titans here. They just finished acquiring Robert Woods in a trade from the Rams for a 6th round pick. I think he's a good receiver. Just not a throwing team. I really don't like Tannehill as a quarterback after last year. It's just what I saw was just not good. They basically were trying to do everything possible to not make him throw the ball in some instances, and I think that's really bad. I don't think this bumps up Woods at all. I don't think this is a great trade. I mean, it's not a bad trade, but I don't think this does anything for the Titans, to be honest with you. They don't throw the ball that much. Hopefully, you know, Robert Woods in the slot changes that. He's a freaking talented receiver. He's awesome. I just don't like Tannehill as a quarterback. I don't think I don't think he's the quarterback you want throwing the ball to your receivers unless it's AJ Brown. And even then, there's gonna be some off games. In my opinion, that's what I've seen sometimes is gonna happen. I think that Robert Woods is gonna get targets, but I don't think he's gonna be like a major fantasy asset in that team, especially when they're a running team and all they do is run the ball down everybody's throat with Henry. So next, we're gonna go to the Denver Broncos. Another big signing, Russell Wilson acquired in a trade with the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, so everybody's excited. Everybody's like Sutton to the moon, Judy to the moon, you know, Alberto to the moon. I think I want to see it first. I love the fact that he has a running back. I love Russell Wilson, but last year they brought him in, I think, too early from that finger injury, and he wasn't ready, and he looked really bad in some instances, and he was underthrowing everyone, throwing interceptions. I mean, the Russell Wilson I've never seen before. The good thing about Russell Wilson is that he's durable. Last year was the first year probably that he was injured for that amount of time and wasn't able to perform because he had a broken finger or a torn ligament on his finger that was pretty much, causing him a lot of pain and he wasn't able to play. So they had to go with Geno Smith. My thing is, I don't think Sutton is DK Metcalf. I don't know if Judy's gonna be the one to mesh with Tyler Lockett, like he did with Tyler Lockett in Seattle, or if it's gonna be KJ Hamler. You're gonna kind of want to keep your eye on that because KJ Hamler blows the top off of defenses. He's very sneaky. He's very fast, and he could be Tyler Lockett and not Judy. But then maybe we could get the old Russell Wilson, and then it's on, and everybody gets a bump up here. I'm talking about everyone gets a bump up here, but I'm just a little worried about that finger injury and what I saw last year from Russell Wilson. I thought he was brought in too early from that injury, and maybe that was it. But I'm a little tentative right now to pull the trigger on a lot of these players because Russell Wilson was really not playing to his level at the end of the season because of that injury, and if it lingers, I don't know. At the end of the day, the ball flies in Denver. It's a mile high, so he's gonna let it go and can't wait to see it. And if it's the old Russell Wilson and he's back, then it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong, folks. Get ready with Javante in the backfield, and if they hold on to Gordon, it's gonna be on. So I'm just waiting to see what happens. The whole entire division is stacked beyond belief. Oh my God, guys, this is gonna be a shootout. Having all these teams play each other, it's gonna be crazy, and I can't wait to see it. I really can't. Next, we're gonna go to the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, their biggest signing is obviously Juju Smith-Schuster, and I want you guys to give me a second here to talk about Juju. To be honest with you, a lot of people are like, like the wide receiver two hasn't done nothing there. It's a big mess. No, it's all Kelsey and it's all Tyreek Hill, which is very true. But hear me out here, okay? I want you guys to remember something. All right, I want you guys to remember Juju Smith-Schuster's year in 2018, where he had 166 targets, okay, 111 receptions, over 1,400 yards, and 13 touchdowns with AB on the field, okay? Big, 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 big with, okay? I get it. All right, so they're like, okay, so he had a couple bad seasons, this, that, but in 2020, he did it again. 97 receptions, 131 yards, and he had 9 touchdowns. Not as many yards, but he had the volume. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying here, I'm not saying that he's gonna produce or by any means this in Kansas City his first year, but what I'm saying is if one of these guys goes down in Tyreek Hill or Kelsey, he is more than capable of receiving all the volume in the world, folks. Okay, more than Michael Hardman, more than Pringle, and more than anybody else on that team that has tried to play that wide receiver two role. So I want you guys to take that into consideration. And obviously, he's playing with the best QB in the game right now in Pat Mahomes. I think if you guys got this guy on your team, I don't think you trade him. I think you hold on to him because if Tyreek Hill or Kelsey go down, it's gonna be fireworks, folks. It's gonna be fireworks. And he's so young. Like he's young. You're not. There's nothing wrong with him. He's gonna come now more amped than ever to play. He's on a winning team. He's playoff bound. So you gotta understand, like this could be something capable. I'm not saying that he's gonna go for 100 receptions, but he's more than capable of receiving that volume if Kelsey and Tyreek Hill go down. And he's got another person on the field, which is what I'm saying. If Kelsey goes down and he has Tyreek, he has somebody stretching the field. And if the other way around, if Tyreek Hill goes down, then he's more than capable of getting the value that Tyreek gets. He's very capable. So I think this is a great ad for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm super super excited to see what he does. I know he's gonna do good. I'm expecting a revamped, rejuvenated Juju this year, and let's just keep going on to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, another huge free agent signing. They picked up. Let's go with the small ones first. They picked up Amir Abdullah, little backup role. They picked up Brandon Bolden too. They picked up Davante Adams. When people were like, "Wow, How come Devontae Adams leave Rodgers? Oh my God, is he stupid? What is he, what's wrong with him? He just made the biggest mistake in his career. But did he really? I mean, they played together in college in Fresno State. A lot of these people probably weren't aware of that before they went off. And let me tell you something. There was a game where they went off, both Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. And I'm talking about they went bananas, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you Devontae Adams had 200 reception seasons with Carr, okay? So this is he had a game where, if I'm not mistaken, he caught 9 passes for 246 yards and a whooping 4 touchdowns. Wow. So what we might be seeing here, chemistry wise, is what we saw last year from Burrow and Chase. So whoever thinks that Adams is stupid for leaving Green Bay and getting more money with the Raiders, with his college QB, I got another thing to tell you. I just backed it up with the stats. Not only that, Carr was a monster in college with Devontae Adams. So let me tell you something. I think Derek Carr is going to have probably the best season of his life this year. To be honest with you, I love the coach for the Raiders. I think this guy is a strong character dude. Everybody respects him. It's like it's just it's crazy to me. They went ahead and re-signed Max Crosby to a $98.98 million contract extension with $95 million in new money and $53 million guaranteed. Chandler Jones signed a deal that'll pay him $52.5 million over 3 years, including $34 million guaranteed. Okay, so watch out for the Raiders. Like I said, this whole division is so stacked that it is so scary. This AFC West division is so scary, and I cannot wait to see the games. I am so excited. All right, next we got the Chargers. They re-signed Mike Williams to a 3-year, $60 million deal, which I thought was super smart. I mean, what else does he have to do? He went off last year, and as long as he can stay healthy, he's gonna be producing numbers. They signed Gerald Everett to a 2-year, $12 million deal with a max value of $13.5 million. So on the defensive of the ball, they signed Khalil Mack with a trade exchange for a 22 second round draft pick and a 6 rounder in 2023 after all the first round picks that the Bears gave up for Khalil Mack. That's crazy. Next, we have in the NFC East. We're going to go to the NFC now, folks. Well, they went ahead and shipped Amari Cooper to the Browns, which now with Deshaun Watson, like I said, I love that. So we already spoke about that. We covered that, but the Cowboys re-signed Michael Gallup to a 5-year, $57.5 million deal that includes $23 million fully guaranteed and has a max value of $62.5 million. The deal includes a $10 million signing bonus. Oof, that's a good signing bonus. They franchise tagged Dalton Schultz. DeMarcus Lawrence got a new 3-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. They're covering their tails. The Cowboys are going to probably be pretty strong next year. I think that Dak Prescott comes back more healed from that injury. CeeDee Lamb to the moon. Gallup to the moon if he comes back healthy from that knee injury. Schultz to the moon. Now there's more ball to go around in my opinion, and I think it's going to be a good season. Hopefully they can get over that playoff game and get back to the regular schedule program over there. You've already seen Dak Prescott make a bunch of people relevant dynasty wise on the Cowboys. Cedric Wilson just got a major deal, so you already seen that. There's nothing to say about that. Next, we're gonna go to the New York Giants. I mean, they haven't really done anything. They signed Tyrod Taylor to a 2-year, $11 million deal. 17 million with incentives. This guy, Davis Mills, took this guy's job last year. I'm pretty sure Daniel Jones remains a starter. They're just doing the backup thing. Everybody's like, oh, Tyrod Taylor's going to take Daniel Jones's job. I don't think so. Davis Mills took his job last year, so I think this is just backup money. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? They signed Ricky Seals-Jones-Drew to fill in as a free agent contract for Evan Ingram. Let's go down to the Washington Commanders. I would like Commandos better, but hey, you know, we can't be always choosing stuff. Carson Wentz was acquired and traded from the Indianapolis Colts along with a 2022 seventh round pick in exchange for a 2022 third rounder, 2023 third rounder. So they got two third rounders and a 2022 seventh round pick. All right. And the teams can also swap, or will also swap, excuse me, a 2022 second round pick. J.D. McKissick said he was going to sign with Buffalo, ended up reneging, went ahead and signed a $7 million deal and re signed with the team. He had a change of heart. Let's just say that. That's about it for the Washington Commanders. Next, we're going to go to the Bears. They went ahead and picked up Byron Pringle, signed him to a 1 year, $4 million contract. They picked up St. Brown, signed him to a 1 year, $1 million contract. And pretty much that's basically it. Let's go to Detroit. Detroit signed David Blau. They signed both their backups. They signed one for a 1.35 million, which is David Blau, and Tim Boyle re-signing a 1 year, $2 million deal that includes 1.75 million guaranteed. They picked up some wide receivers. They picked up DJ Shark. They signed him to a 1 year, $10 million deal that's fully guaranteed. I mean, they really need the help at wide receiver. Last year was with that passing game was just hard to watch for me. I mean, Goff was just terrible. I mean, hopefully, the wide receiver upgrade helps, but that was just hard to watch last year, man. Khalif Raymond re-signed, Josh Reynolds re-signed, and we're gonna go to the Green Bay Packers next. They re-signed Aaron Rodgers. Everybody knows about the big payday, $158.815 million deal. It's one. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Aaron Rodgers signed an extension that pays $150.815 million over the next 3 years, with $101.515 million fully guaranteed. The new deal drops his 22 salary cap hit by about $18 million. They took the restricted free agent tender on Allen Lazard. I think this guy's a major sleeper. He's really big and he blew up at the end of the season, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be looking for him quite a lot. And we're going to see a major bump up in his production. And I have him bumped up in my tires. You got this guy's, he's probably there sitting late in the draft. If you're not, if you're looking to see, who to get and you're in a startup or you're doing a best ball draft, I think this guy's a great stab later in the late rounds to have. He could be a number one option out there. There's nobody out there. Yet I know probably Green Bay's gonna get one of the top wide receivers in this draft. I would love to see Treylon Burks go to Green Bay. That would be super awesome. But let's see what happens. We gotta wait. Don't get excited. They signed linebacker Devondre Campbell to a 5 year, $50 million deal. They signed Preston Smith, another linebacker, to a 4 year extension worth $52.5 million in new money. Smith gets more than $65 million over the 5 years with a chance to make $71 million. So that's super huge deal. Russell Douglas re-signed a 3 year, $21 million deal, max value 25.5. So, the Packers making moves. Also dying to see who they pick up in the draft. Oh, can't wait to get the goodies. Once the draft is done, we're gonna be having a show going over everything. Creating excitement, folks. Whether this is the greatest draft in the world or this is the subpar draft, the biggest subpar draft in the world, which I know there's going to be gems. So, guys, don't listen to the hoopla. Don't let everybody or anybody deflate your fun in Dynasty football. Get with it. Listen to the show. Get your gems. Take your notes and get your guys. You know what I'm saying? You never know. There's always gems in every single draft, and you never know who the next gem might be in the second, third, or fourth round. For me, it was Davis Mills last year. As funny as it sounds, in super flex leagues, a QB2 like that in the fourth round is a gift. And then I'm in a super flex league that is called the super flex that has three starting QBs. So if you're able to pick up a guy in the third or fourth round and he ends up being a starting QB towards the end of the season, which is what you need, that's a win-win in my opinion. Let's go over to the Carolina Panthers. Okay, so the Carolina Panthers went ahead and signed Deontay Foreman to a 1 year contract. I think Deontay Foreman, if anything happens to McCaffrey this year, he's taking over that backfield. I'm going to be honest with you. He was able to do stuff last year behind that Titans O line, and I think he'll be able to do a little bit better than Chubbert. Hubbard and what they got there. I think given he gets a chance, anything happens to McCaffrey, and they beef up that O line and fix some things. He might be a sleeper. He might be a guy you want on the bottom of your roster, just sitting there waiting for McCaffrey to get injured or overused, and you never know. You might have yourself a starting running back two, maybe running back three, maybe even a running back two with Deontay Foreman. They signed Rashard Higgins to a 1 year deal. They re-signed DJ Moore to a 3 year contract extension worth $65.9 million in new money. That includes 41.6 million in guarantees. This new deal keeps him under the contract through 2025 season. So it's safe to say that they're gonna go ahead and keep DJ Moore for the long haul. And let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. Tom Brady unretired. Okay, so everything's back on. Okay, I really like Leonard Fournette this year. Again, I like Chris Godwin this year. They picked up Russell Gage. They signed him. They franchise tagged Chris Godwin. So they received the franchise tag, and Godwin and the Bucs later agreed to a 3 year, $60 million contract with $40 million guaranteed at the signing. So that was awesome. Brashard Perriman re-signed the 1 year deal. Now we're gonna go to the NFC West, and we're gonna start with the Arizona Cardinals. They re-signed McCoy to a 2 year contract. James Conner signed a 3 year, $21 million extension that includes $16 million over the first 2 years. Now, if you can get Conner late in drafts again this year, like in the 6th, 7th, 8th rounds, I would do it. I wouldn't do it in the early rounds. You're kind of setting yourself up for failure. But if you can get him in the later rounds, I think without Chase Edmonds there, I think his reception goes up. His target share goes up. I don't think he's going to score as many touchdowns, but I think that the reception and the target share goes up. I think that'll balance it out. He might not score as much, but I think that'll help. They re-signed Sackers to a 3 years, $31.65 million contract. That includes $17.5 million guaranteed. I'm pretty sure he is staying there. Max Williams re-signed as well, just in case something happens to Zach Ertz. And Max Williams is more than capable of holding the load. So I would have Max Williams and Zach Ertz. That wouldn't be a bad thing, because if something happens to Zach Ertz, Max Williams is going to fit in, and they're going to keep throwing the ball to the tight end. They already did that last year. The Los Angeles Rams. We're going to go over to the Super Bowl champs. They signed Matthew Stafford to a 3 year, $129 million extension that includes a $60 million signing bonus. The extension should be clear close to $10 million off the Rams' 2022 salary cap. This is the signing that I like. Allen Robinson signing a 3 year, $46.5 million deal. You already know Woods went to the Titans. Odell Beckham hasn't signed, and if it stays that way, Allen Robinson to the moon, folks. He's never played with this type of quarterback. He has Cooper Kupp on the other side taking triple teams. Yeah, he's gonna go off if he stays healthy, and I know he's gonna come back rejuvenated, resurged. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see it. They signed the offensive tackle Joe Noteboom to a 3 year, $40 million contract that includes $25 million guaranteed and has a max value of $47.5 million. So, the Los Angeles Rams are protecting their assets. They went out and got a super receiver. I think it's probably an upgrade, maybe from Robert Woods. We'll have to see. At this point, he's the same age as Odell Beckham, maybe a little older. May be wrong on that, but I think this could be a resurgent year for Allen Robinson, and I think having him on your squad and holding him through the year that he had, I think you should just hold him. You never know. You might have yourself a great fantasy asset for maybe another couple of years, maybe 3, 4 years, depending on how it goes. But I think Allen Robinson this year and next for sure is good to have. If you want to get rid of him, if you have somebody that's excited and they're shooting you crazy offers for Allen Robinson, you can go ahead and pull the trigger, especially if you're in a rebuild. That's a player you can live without and get something good for, especially if somebody's already hitting you up for them. I think it's a win-win. Next, we're going to go to the Seattle Seahawks. They got a haul for Russell Wilson. Drew Lock was acquired in a trade. I don't think that has any fantasy relevant. Noah Fant was another good player that they traded in that trade. They re-signed Rashad Penny to a $5.75 million deal that has a max of $6.5 million value. Rashard Penny had a great season last year. I think he had the highest breakaway average after getting hit. I think he had the highest breakaway average of the league last year. So that's a pretty big statement. I'm just I'm dying to see what and who they go with in the draft. People are saying maybe they go quarterback. I don't know. I don't think Drew Lock is the answer, and to be honest with you, I think Geno Smith starts over Drew Lock. He knows that offense way better than Drew Lock. Maybe not. Maybe he just starts launching the ball of TJ DK Metcalf, and it just becomes a thing. Who knows? But I think they're probably gonna go quarterback, and that's probably what they're gonna do. That is it, folks. We've gone over pretty much every team in the league, and let me tell you, I'm super excited about this year. I can't be excited enough. I can't wait to see what Watson does with the Browns. I can't wait to see what Juju does with the Kansas City Chiefs, all these signings, and yet we still got more to go. Hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for the next episode of Dynasty Life Miami. I am your host, JP. Once again, you can catch us at Dynasty Life Miami on all your podcast platforms, Dynasty Life MIA on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Twitter. My personal is Salazar305, which is SALAZAR 305. And if you have anything to say, please leave it in the comment. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like. If you have comments, let them go. I will be the first one to answer you, and we can have a debate. It's all friendly. It's all for us to get better. This is what we do, dropping gems. You guys have a good night. This is your host, JP, signing off.